Have you ever just stopped and wondered why sometimes, even when the evidence seems totally overwhelming, it's just not enough to make someone believe, or maybe more importantly, to actually do something? Well, today we're going to dive into that really fascinating puzzle and try to figure out what's really going on under the surface.
So let's start with this line. It's from the Gospel of Luke, and it's been called one of the most ruthful jokes in all of Scripture. And in a way, it's a prophecy that has kind of held true for 2,000 years. I mean, just think about that for a second. The ultimate proof, right? A person literally rising from the dead. And the punchline is, it's still not going to be enough.
So yeah, this single sentence, it's way more than just a clever line. It perfectly sets up this profound dilemma about the very nature of human belief and, the actual limits of proof.
And this just illustrates the paradox perfectly. I mean, the central story of Christianity is the defeat of the one thing humans have never, ever been able to beat: death. And yet, even with this absolute ultimate miracle on the table, doubt and disbelief are, well, they're everywhere.
So, this brings us to the core question we're wrestling with. If a person rising from the dead isn't convincing, then maybe, just maybe, our endless search for more and more proof is missing the entire point. So what is the point? Well, to figure that out, let's explore two totally opposing mindsets.
Okay, so first up, we've got the mindset that's embodied by the rich man from that parable. And it's a mindset many of us, if we're being honest, will find really, really familiar. It's that constant quest for more evidence.
Let's call this the quest for certainty. It's that little voice in our heads that says, if there was just a clearer sign, just one bigger miracle, then I'd believe, then I would act. It's this deep desire for an absolute guarantee before we're willing to take any kind of risk.
And this slide, it just lays out the core tension perfectly. The rich man, he was demanding these spectacular, impossible signs. But the story suggests the real evidence was already there all along, in Scripture, from the prophets, and literally on his own doorstep with the needy man Lazarus. He wasn't really looking for evidence. He was looking for an excuse.
So why does this happen? Well, because this whole quest for certainty is really just a quest for comfort. The story tells us the rich man feasted sumptuously every day. His goal wasn't truth, it wasn't action, it was to feel secure, to not feel scared, and to avoid feeling vulnerable at all costs.
Okay, now let's flip the script and look at the complete and total opposite of that mindset. And for this counterpoint, we have to go way, way back to the story of Abraham.
We can call this the leap of faith. And it's defined not by waiting around for proof, but by the sheer willingness to act on a call with almost zero evidence, trusting the source of the call instead.
And to really get how huge this was, you have to look at the timeline. When God calls Abram, what history does he have to lean on? Not much, really. The only major recorded events are creation and the flood. There's no Moses, no prophets, no long track record of God's character to go back and analyze. The guy is operating from a practically blank slate.
And then what happens? God makes what sounds like an absolutely insane request. Leave your family, leave everything you've ever known, and go to a land you've never even seen. And Abraham's response? It's just stunning in its simplicity. God calls, he goes. That's it. No demanding more signs, no asking for a 5-year plan.
And here's the crucial point, right here. Abraham was far from perfect. I mean, the Old Testament is just full of people who say yes and then totally mess up, who get filled with doubt and fear. But what mattered most wasn't their perfection. It was that initial choice to trust, that first yes.
So, how do we bring these two completely opposite ideas together? You've got the paralyzing quest for certainty on one hand and the terrifying leap of faith on the other. This brings us to the central takeaway of this whole thing. It all comes down to these 3 little words. This is the synthesis. Faith isn't about waiting around until you're not afraid anymore. It's not the absence of fear at all. It's the courage to act right in the middle of it.
I mean, we all do this, right? Just like the rich man, we build up these walls. We cling to what's comfortable and what feels secure. We invent all these reasons why now just isn't the right time. We do pretty much everything we can to avoid that feeling of being scared and vulnerable.
And that's because the call to faith, it is not a promise of an easy life. This slide just makes it so incredibly clear. It doesn't promise comfort or wealth or a life without struggle. Nope, the only promise is one of companionship, that whatever you face, he will be right there with you.
So ultimately, the invitation here is one of transformation. It's a call to lay down the life that we're all clinging to so tightly, the one built on comfort and certainty, and to pick up the life that's actually being offered to us.
It's a personal invitation, and it's stripped of all complexity. It's not about having all the answers or somehow eliminating all the risks. It's simply about taking that first step, even while you're scared.
So this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If the point isn't to wait until you have enough evidence to not be scared, but to act while you're scared, well, then the real question isn't whether you have enough proof. The real question is, what are you waiting for?